Of New Jersey and Republican Congressman Tom Reed of New York. They are among the bipartisan group of lawmakers who met with President Trump at the White House yesterday. It's really good to have you on board, Josh. I'll start with you.
Thanks for having us.
How was the president? Was he open to solving problems? And what exactly did he think the problem was?
Well, first, I think it was a very productive conversation and constructive, and we all, I think, listened to one another, both sides, laid out what our concerns are. You know, obviously, I stressed, and my colleagues stressed, we've got to reopen the government, but we're also very open to talking about other issues to solve other challenges, including, right, border security and immigration. And what we've stressed is, and I think this was well received, and as Tom can weigh in on this, is that we've got to talk to each other. And if we refuse, we'll never solve this issue. But we've got to open the government and deal with this issue.
Tom, was he open to talking about doing something other than $5.7 billion for his wall?
I think all the indications have been there, even continuing yesterday, for us to talk and work out these differences, Mika. This is how childish this town has become. They won't even talk to each other any longer. And I applaud my Democratic colleagues. I applaud the Problem Solvers Caucus members for stepping forward and saying we have to talk to work this out. And that is the step we took yesterday. And it was constructive, and it was positive on both ends.
Well, I mean, wait a minute, just to back up a little bit about how childish Washington is, and not talking. I mean, wasn't the president presented with a bipartisan solution to end the shutdown? I mean, can we agree that he's been given options?
No, because it's not just about, Mika, it's just not about the shutdown. It's about solving the problems of the border, border security. We have an opportunity to solve an issue for millions of potential dreamers and DACA individuals, if you want to go down that path. I mean, there are things we can do. It's not just about opening the government for 21 days. It's time to roll up our sleeves.
But we're in a shutdown where people...
Mika.
Hold on. People are really hurting from the shutdown. It's at historic lengths. I think it is about reopening the government, number one. And number two, you know, when people aren't talking to, I believe Democrats came to the White House and the president said bye-bye and walked away. So, I mean, did you all talk to the president about actually being a part of the conversation?
Yeah, we actually talked about those American citizens that are the American workers that you referenced, and we care about them and want to get this addressed. But fellow American citizens are dying as a result of the broken border system that we have and the border security issues that are there. It is time to set this aside. That's why we need to continue to talk, and we have been talking, and we will talk. Now the rest of our leadership needs to step forward and get this done.
Yeah, and you make an important point. I think what you also heard is, to have that conversation that Tom's talking about, where we get into the other issues, we've got to reopen the government. You know, people's safety is at risk, the skies, our food, you know, the security of our country, the economy is taking a hit. Clearly, we heard that from the administration and others from outside about how it's going to slow growth in our country. These are all real issues. We've got to open the government. But I think there's really, what I think came out of it also is there is a real desire to find a way forward here and for us to talk. And if we don't do that, you know, and both sides are going to have to be willing to give a little bit, you know, and I think that's a very important part of this. You've got to give a little to actually move forward, and hopefully we can keep doing that and start that process.
Guys, I would like the both of you to take a swing at this question. Problem solvers. How do you deal with the problem of fear? You met yesterday with a man, Donald Trump, who was so afraid of his position on the border that he changed it immediately when he got a tweet from a talk show host. And you're going to work in the Capitol, in a building where a handful of people inject fear into the majority because of the fear of loss of their base. What do you do about the problem of fear? It seems to be epidemic. Well, courage might be contagious, but we have yet to find out about either. What do you do about fear?
My humble opinion, you lead like we did yesterday, and you step forward, and that's why I give credit to my fellow Problem Solvers Caucus Democrats for coming into the room and at least engaging in the conversation. That's what our leadership needs to do, and that's where the adults of Washington, D.C. should be coming into the room and get this done for everyone's sake.
And I'd add to that, there are a growing number of people here in the Capitol, you know, in the Senate and the House, Democrats and Republicans, who realize what you're saying, that we can't allow the extremes and the obstructionism to guide the day. We actually need, and there's more of us to sit down and figure it out. That's what we're all talking about. And how do we break this logjam? It's hurting the country, and there's real issues that we have to deal with and deal with now. So this just can't go on. But there are a number of people, I'd say actually the vast majority of people I talk to, who want to find a way forward and out of this.
Congressman Josh Gottheimer and Tom Reed, thank you both for what you're doing. And thanks for being on. Still ahead, President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, leaves open the possibility of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. But